My name is Rachel. I was 28 years old, living in New Jersey. I was married to Mark. From the outside, our life looked perfect. A nice apartment, stable jobs, family dinners every weekend. But inside, I felt alone, very alone. Mark was not a bad man. He was polite, responsible, and respectful. But something always felt wrong. He never asked about my feelings, never noticed when I was sad, never looked at me the way a husband should. I told myself, maybe this is normal marriage. Maybe love becomes quiet after time. But deep inside, my heart felt empty. Everything became clear when we visited my mother. My mother's name was Linda. She was warm, strong, and very caring. Mark changed around her. He smiled more, talked more, listened carefully. He laughed at her jokes, asked her opinion, helped her with small things he never did for me. One evening, I watched them from the kitchen. My mother was talking about her day. Mark was listening, really listening. His eyes were full of attention. I realized something painful. That look, that care, I had never received it. At first, I felt jealous, then confused, then scared. Why did my husband give my mother the love I was begging for? My mother noticed my silence. Later that night, she asked me softly, "Rachel, are you okay?" I wanted to tell her the truth, but how could I say it? How could I say, "I think my husband loves you more than me"? So I smiled and said, "I'm just tired." Weeks passed. The feeling grew stronger. Mark called my mother often, asked her advice, shared his worries. But with me, short answers, no emotion, no connection. One night, I finally asked him, "Mark, why are you so different with my mother?" He looked surprised, then said calmly, "She understands me. She listens without judgment." Those words broke something inside me. I asked quietly, "And me? Do I understand you?" He didn't answer. That silence was louder than words. That night, I cried alone, not because he loved my mother, but because he never tried to love me. I started therapy. I learned something important. Sometimes, people don't marry the person they love. They marry the person who feels safe, comfortable, familiar. I realized the truth. Mark didn't want a wife. He wanted emotional comfort, a calm presence, and my mother gave him that, not romantically, but emotionally, in a way I never could. One evening, I spoke to my mother. I told her everything. She cried. She held my hands and said, "I never wanted this. You deserve to be loved fully." She asked me something I'll never forget. "Do you feel chosen in your marriage?" I knew the answer. No. A month later, I sat with Mark. I said calmly, "I don't feel loved. I feel invisible." He didn't argue. He didn't fight. He just said, "I don't know how to give you what you need." And for the first time, he was honest. We decided to separate, not with anger, but with understanding. After the divorce, life was quiet, painful, but peaceful. I learned to listen to myself, to trust my feelings, to never accept emotional leftovers again. My mother supported me. She said, "Love should feel warm, not lonely." Days passed after that conversation, but my heart was not calm. I kept thinking about Mark's words. She understands me. Why not me? Why was I invisible in my own marriage? At dinner, Mark sat across from me, scrolling on his phone. Quiet, distant. I tried to start a conversation. How was your day? He replied, fine. One word. No feeling. No interest. But when my mother called, everything changed. His voice became warm. Yes, Linda, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that. I watched him, and my chest felt heavy. That night, I couldn't sleep. I asked myself again and again, was I the wife or just a responsibility? The next weekend, we visited my mother again. She cooked dinner. The house smelled warm, comfortable. Mark helped her in the kitchen, laughing, talking. I sat alone on the sofa, feeling like a guest in my own family. During dinner, my mother said, Rachel, you are very quiet today. Mark didn't even look at me. That hurt the most. Later, I stood in the kitchen with my mother. She looked at my face carefully. Then she said softly, something is wrong. I couldn't hold it anymore. My voice shook. Mom, I don't feel loved. Tears filled my eyes. She hugged me tightly. She whispered, you should never feel lonely with your husband. Those words broke me. I cried like a child. That night, I decided to speak clearly. No fear, no silence. I sat in front of Mark and said slowly, I feel ignored. I feel unwanted. I feel second in your life. He stayed quiet. Then he sighed. I don't mean to hurt you, but I feel more comfortable with your mother. My heart stopped. I asked, do you love me? He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He said, I care about you. That answer told me everything. I realized something important. Care is not love. Comfort is not passion. Marriage without connection is just a contract. That night, I didn't cry. I felt empty, but clear. I knew this marriage was already broken. Not because of my mother, not because of betrayal, but because my husband never chose me emotionally. I looked at myself in the mirror and asked, is this the life I want forever? The answer was simple. No. The next morning, I woke up early. The house was quiet. Mark was still sleeping. I looked at him, and for the first time, I felt nothing. No anger, no love, only distance. I went to the kitchen, made coffee, sat alone, thinking about my life, about who I became. A wife who felt invisible. A woman who stayed silent. That day, I called my best friend, Emma. She listened quietly. Then she said, Rachel, love should not make you feel small. Those words stayed with me. In the evening, Mark came home late. As usual, I didn't ask questions. Instead, I said calmly, we need to talk. He looked surprised. I continued, I have been lonely in this marriage. I tried to understand you. I tried to be patient, but I lost myself. He said softly, I didn't know you felt this bad. I replied, I told you many times. You just didn't hear me. There was a long silence. Then I said the hardest words of my life. I want a separation. Mark stood up. shocked. Are you serious? I nodded. Yes, I deserve to be loved. He didn't argue. He didn't fight. That hurt more than anything, because deep inside, I knew he had already let me go. I packed my bags. That night, I left the house. I didn't look back. I moved into a small apartment. It was quiet, simple, but peaceful. For the first time in years, I slept without pain in my chest. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. I started therapy. I started writing again. I started smiling again. One day, my mother visited me. She looked nervous. She said, "I never wanted to hurt you." Tears fell from her eyes. I held her hands. "I know, Mom. This is not your fault." But I had to choose myself. She hugged me and whispered, "I'm proud of you." That moment healed something deep inside me. Later, I heard Mark was dating someone else. It didn't hurt because my heart was already free. I learned an important lesson. Love is not comfort. Love is not familiarity. Love is choosing someone every single day. And if someone doesn't choose you, you must choose yourself.